Premier, MECs, HODs, colleagues from the media and from government. We are going to start with the quarterly media briefing, which is the second one of the Northwest Provincial Government, the 7th administration. Part of the effort will be to reflect on the 100-day program of the 7th administration so far. And this is important to update residents out there about work which government continues to do. We are going to afford the Premier an opportunity to present the statement. Thereafter, we will afford you an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to then ask questions. Responses to the questions will be made by all members of the Executive Council. We will therefore at this stage request the audience, all of us, to observe a moment of silence in memory of all the departed, in particular, veteran Moahi, former executive mayor of Madibeng, Mayor Justine Mutibe, and all other departed souls. Let's observe a moment of silence. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. At this stage, I'm going to invite the Premier of the Northwest Province, Date Lazarus Kagiso Mokosi, to come to the podium and give us the EXCO statement. Over to you, Premier.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ntate Setswambu. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Members of the Executive Council present here today, the Director General of the province, Remo Khotle, heads of department present here today, executive and senior management of government, members of the media gathered here today, and those joining us through various media platforms. Bagaitso dumelang goeie môre ra leboga re lebogela maoto a nyena gore lebelele fa gompieno. We are gathered here today on the second installment of our quarterly engagement with members of the media, but critically to report to the people of this province on the work we continue to carry out in addressing challenges afflicting our communities, as well as the plans and commitments we have initiated to change their lives for the better. So today we meet on a somber mood following the passing of the former executive mayor of Madibeng local municipality, Mayor Justine Mutibe, who tragically died in a horrific car accident this past weekend. But for information and completeness, as she parted from this world, I had appointed her in my office as a special advisor. She was supposed to start on the 1st, and she died the night before she could start her work. That's unfortunate. We also take this opportunity to pay homage to our struggle veteran, Getsen Moahi from Hopani village near Zirast. Ntate Moahi, who passed away at the age of 81, was one of the first combatants of Lituli detachment and left the country with Kosi Ramotsere Muilwa in the 1960s after the latter was forced into exile by the then apartheid government. May their soul rest in peace. As the Provincial Executive Council, we take this opportunity to congratulate the people of Botswana and the President Duma Boko and the entire leadership following the country's election. The people of the Northwest and Botswana share deep historical and cultural ties which spans over decades, and we believe that the outcome of this democratic exercise will cement and strengthen economic ties between our province and the people of Botswana for mutual benefit. Besides, we started the 7th administration on a very positive note, following our recent engagement with the Auditor General Tsakani Maluleka in Klerksdorp. The 2023-2024 audit cycle, which ended on the 31st of March 2024, serves as a glimmer of hope when compared to previous financial years. This is because a total of 9 departments received unqualified audit outcomes, with 2 receiving clean audits and only 1 department receiving a qualified audit opinion with reduced qualification paragraphs. It's very important that we should note that. Much as it's a qualified, this department, they have reduced qualification paragraphs. This is a positive note of the good work we are doing. This foundation has eased our transition as we managed to finalize and table the 2024-2025 provincial budget by focusing primarily on the immediate task of rolling out key service delivery programs as well as job creation. Similarly, audit outcomes in municipalities continue to demonstrate signs of improvement, and some have been able to move out of the negative audit category. Of the 22 municipalities, 21 submitted annual financial statements for the 2022-2023 financial year, with an exception of the Zobotla local municipality. 3 municipalities, namely Dr. KK Kaunda, City of Matlosana, and Moses Kotana, obtained unqualified opinions in 2021-2022 and 2022-2023 financial years. Progress was also registered in Moretele local municipality, which moved from qualified to unqualified, Ngaka Mudirimolema district municipality from adverse to qualified, and lastly Khetlen Rifa local municipalities from disclaimer to qualified audit outcomes. All these efforts are as a consequence of the financial recovery plans that we have initiated through the deployment of what is called provincial executive representatives in line with the National Treasury guidelines, as we believe that it is important for these municipalities to adopt sustainable and funded budgets to meet the developmental needs of our people. So we believe that this progress is as a result of such an intervention by the provincial government. The stabilization of these municipalities has enabled us to focus our energies on rolling out various water and sanitation projects at a cost of over 66 million rand, benefiting over 41,000 residents in the province. Through our bi-weekly Tunzalerolo initiative, we officially opened a 97 million rand bagged sewer and water reticulation project at Rekaratle Township near Stella in the Naledi local municipality in Dr. Ruth Sokhomotse Mompati. Similar projects are being implemented, while some have been completed in Moretele, Khetleng, Ramotsere Muilwa, Mahikeng, Matlosana, Tswaing, Greater Taung, and Kagisan Molopo local municipalities. And in total, 29 water projects are being rolled out across the province. Ladies and gentlemen, unemployment is a cause of concern in our province, hovering around 54%. Moreover, more than half of the province population are suffering from severe hunger. In response to the latter, the provincial government has initiated what is called a food distribution programs to assist families in need. through the presidential stimulus package for the 2024-2025 period of the financial year. 48 million has been allocated to the province, targeting 2,400 households through commodities such as vegetables, fruits, grains, broilers, and small stock agricultural and fishery products. We have also paid a visit to the Taung irrigation schemes to find lasting solutions to the challenges confronting farmers in that area. In due course, we will be announcing specific intervention measures that will benefit over 2,700 farmers who are dependent on the scheme of the Taung irrigation scheme. Because we are moving from a simple basis that the scheme must be saved at all costs. In addressing challenges of unemployment, we have appointed the Premier's Economic and Investment Advisory Council, as I alluded before, to assist the province to drive the growth and development path of our province through the Provincial Growth and Development Strategy. To date, we have gathered investment to the tune of over 10 billion rand in the N14 mixed development, manufacturing, as well as renewable energy. We have also signed a memorandum of understanding with the Henan province of China and renewed our economic ties with the Jinseongbong-do province of South Korea during our visit to the two countries. You'll recall I said I will be visiting in the 100 days South Korea, and in particular the province of Jinseongbong and also the province of Henan. I'm from there, and I later went to Beijing, and I can confirm that that visit, as I came back to this country, I came with a confirmed $4 million to build a new school in Khomu in Moretele in the Bojanala district. These efforts will culminate into various investment opportunities that will create employment for the people of this province and address high levels of poverty and unemployment afflicting our communities. On Monday, I also met with the chief executive officers of leading Indian companies in the country through the Indian Business Forum, and they've also expressed interest in investing, in particular in agriculture, tourism, and mining, which are primarily the province's economic drivers. In dealing with this thing of unemployment, as government, we will also have advertised over 240 funded vacant posts across all departments of government, targeting in particular vulnerable groups such as women, youth, and people with disability to take a lead in the job creation as government. I said when I announced this that in the 100 days, we will advertise all vacant funded posts in government, and that has happened, and it was unprecedented because it has never happened in this province and in this country. In mitigating the impact of poverty and hunger in our communities, we have set aside over 280 million to bolster subsistence, smallholding, and commercial farmers to enhance and boost food production in the next financial year. Program Director, our investment drive will only find traction if we prioritize infrastructure development, particularly through the construction and upgrading of our roads. We have managed to introduce contractors to various communities for the construction of several roads projects, including the upgrading of the road P202 in Ramokoka Stad in partnership with Anglo Platinum, who have contributed 50 million towards that project. That's what we said. We are going to go to private sector, that we must work this journey together. This is just the beginning. Furthermore, the upgrading of road D533 from the Manama-Khoteng intersection through Sanfontaine to the Kwepi, where Anglo Platinum has contributed 108 million towards this project, is in full swing. The provincial government also opened a completed 190 million rand second phase road construction project between Swaza Reneke and Christiana in Dr. Ruth Khomotsi Mompati District Municipality. Maubani community in Moretele local municipalities was also handed over the newly repaired D625 road, which was upgraded at the cost of over 47 million rand. This is over and above the several roads that we have been officially handing over across the province since June this year, with combined total value of 1.1 billion in this financial year. Bagaetsho, we take this opportunity to commend the South African Police Service and the South African National Defence Force in their unwavering commitment to root out illegal mining activities in the province and in particular city of Matlosane local municipalities. You recall I also made a commitment that we need to drive a community safe environment around mining areas and in particular in Matlosane, and we said that this will happen, and the program of Valam Koti took place. To date, close to 1,000 illegal miners, affectionately known as Zamazamas, have been arrested through Operation Valam Koti at this municipality, Matlosane. Mr. Arrest made it sure that it happened. This ongoing operation forms part of the safer festive strategy, which will run for 123 days until the end of January next year. This is an all-inclusive crime-fighting initiative which is centered on the tackling of illicit mining, murder, attempted murders, rape, gender-based violence, and femicides, drug offenses, illegal dealing in liquor and burglaries, as well as traffic violations and illegal immigration, among others. In combating the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide, we have opened a safe house donated by Anglo-American in Rustenburg to protect vulnerable women and children, providing, among other, psychosocial services, trauma counseling, long-term accommodation for victims of gender-based violence. Ladies and gentlemen, acknowledging for a fact the challenges around scholar transport, government has advertised to contract a panel of operators who will be called at a short notice whenever an operator has not transported learners. There are other measures, including termination through a service level agreement whenever these contraventions are made. We are not going to be tolerant to service providers who are not going to take our learners to schools. If you fail through the service level agreement, there must be a termination clause of exit from the contract. And this other tender that we have made, it's made that procurement becomes easy. There is an automatic replacement without disadvantaging our children. I hope MEC Muchumi will really be very happy on this one. We take this opportunity to applaud tavern owners and their continued support by reducing their business operating hours and other activities during this matric examination. We also extend our gratitude to the Kgosi tsa rona tse di tlotlegang, school governing bodies, parents, faith-based organizations, and youth organizations. Our preparations for the 2024 National Senior Certificate Grade 12 examinations and the implementation thereof has so far not experienced any incident, both from a policy point of view or operational perspective. We congratulate the department on the successful launch of its groundbreaking mother tongue bilingual education, which is primarily aimed at offering mathematics, natural science, and technology in our mother tongue. Go ka nna monate yang go rutiwa metse ka Setswana ba gaetsho. Ao, go ntse go te e tsamaya jang. O sa take di triangle. le bana ba rona ba tla pass. Ladies and gentlemen, upon assuming office as the chairperson of the Provincial Council on AIDS after the national and provincial elections, and recognizing that the council's 5-year term had expired, we have appointed new members at both provincial and district level, including mayors and key committee members, to ensure that there is a new leadership and continuity across the council governance structures in the province. We are resolving bottlenecks, including staff recruitment and securing financing. With this proactive approach, we aim to streamline the Provincial Council on AIDS operations and ensure adequate resources are available for effective service delivery. In conclusion, I wish to take this opportunity to thank you for being part of these briefings, which coincide with our 100 days in office since the advent of this administration, following the national and provincial elections this year. We believe that the media remains an important embodiment of our democratic gains in holding us accountable while taking into cognizance progress registered on the plans we have set out to do in addressing challenges stifling our developmental trajectory. But I must also indicate, as I made a commitment, that we are going to use our local media for printing and community radio stations. I can confirm that in the 100 days, we have not used less than 5.5 million on our local media for radio stations, including print. Thank you very much. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Premier. Thank you very much for that statement that reflects on progress that has been registered so far, ladies and gentlemen. At this stage, we are going to afford you an opportunity to ask questions. Let me take a round of questions, and we invite those on social media to equally prepare themselves for the questions. Right, we are ready for you, ladies and gentlemen, to take questions. Premier a le gore lo siame le gone lo ka re itsise. Oh, Vilakasi. Go na le mongwe ntle le Vilakasi. Oh, o bakeng, okay. Yes, sir, you can just lo wena. O tla ema o ikitse gore o mang go tloga ko o bega kganjo fe. Mo fe mic for
ke a leboga dumela ma Afrika ra leboga emi tona kgolo mokgosi lo yena mo tsamaisa dipuisano tse dia nna ke o lefile Vilakazi Northwest on Sunday ke na le dipotso di le malwa ke utlwile ntlha ya scholar transport mo tona kgolo o bua ka yone mentleng ka re ga ise e heli ya scholar transport mme re leboga goreng mo malatsing a le lekgolo bone gore go sa nna le ba eleng goreng bana ga ba kgone go fitla go dikolong mme gone yaanong ntlha e tshantse diragala yaanong borra dibesa ba botsa ba re ga le duele ka nako ka se tshele diesel ne 6 months 3 months a emetse goreng puso e mo duele ke ntlha yo ya goreng le samagana jang le dituelo tseo mo dikgweding tse di le tharo tseo re leng mo go tsone ntlha ya unemployment o buile ka yone ke boammaaruri o bua nnete tona kgolo ga ore diposo re di bone mo dikuranteng di phatlaladiwa ke boammaaruri seo o bua nnete mo ka re maloba ga ke na le mme Susana Dantsi ko DL Pane o ne bana le program social development reng re traina bana ba re ba isa go dira di license ba bangwe re ba dira di security ba ye go traina security mme ga te gone go a halala ga go tloa mo ntlheng ya matric gore gone go a sala bana ba le 27 ka go security go a sala 25 ka go di driver's licensing mme bane ba le 200 and something mme se go te matric ka dio tse o di halala tse go rano ba sala ba le bikinyana bontsi ba bana ga bana matric ba matric ba mo unemploymenteng re ba shukunyetsa kae ka gore ba bangwe ga bana one mme ga o re dira stilo monna re bone gore dira stilo jang matsogo a bona a mantle ba bangwe ba welta re ba shukunyetsa kae go leba go pele re ya mo pusong ya boshupa boikuelo ba ka mo dikgweding tse di le 100 days ye tona kgolo ebile ke itumela mme Viola Motšuma ba pile le wena tiro ra e bona e ntle ga gona dikgoreletso dipe tse di diragalang mo ntlheng ya thuto mme ntlha thuto e nka mathata ebile ke na le go itega tsebe le go utlwa botlhoko gore ga o tla go lebela I was a former SGB mme o ka re mo dikolong tsa rona gona le dilo tse di tlogelwang tse e leng gore go ya ka South African School Act e tlile gore the principal e tshwanetse e lebelele gore Vilakazi ha dirisi matlo le botlhaswa mare e hetola e hapanya diatla tona kgolo e nna gore Vilakazi ke ene anong a kgalemelang principal gore e maranong o register chefu ha o dirise ntle dio tsa di tlhagella di ya go di district office mme Motšumi e nang ka re Vilakazi it's an enemy gore dio tsa ra go samagana yang le tsone gona le ntlha e tsamayang tona kgolo go Setlopo secondary school gona le ntlha e diragalang gore maloko a dikolo ba lekang go tlhokomela dithoto tsa puso le tsa setšhaba mo Khuduthamaga ba ntshiwa jaaka maloko a di SGB nna ke na le bopaki itse o gorogaela mo kantorong o tsena mo ditlhakong tsa ga mme Matsemela ke ga ke go kwalla lekwalo ke gore ke hetsa go bona love letter ha e reng Vilakazi ha a tshwanna go kwalla public protector gone go bua former HOD mme Semaso ke ipotsa gore yana ha go ta ka tshwana go kwalla public protector e santse ke kwa le se collective ya SGB dio tse o dira yang gore public protector e kwalwa ke mongwe le mongwe jane ke dio tse re batlang goreng mo malatsing a ntse re gaga batona kgolo di e go ka lebelwa go education tiro e ntle mme ntlha goreng go jwa masheleng a pusoa mme batsadi ba ba kgatlhang gore go jwe masheleng ba ntshiwa jaaka maloko a SGB jaaka ke ile ke re ke na le bopaki jo ke kwetse ke tshantse ke kwala mme ga ke se ke arabiwe me Viola Motšumi le maloba ke kwetse gape ga ke se ke arabiwe ko kantorong ya gago re Malindi o tla go fila ini mo ntlheng eo ke a leboga gore a re gateleng sentle go malatsing a le makgolo tiro e ntle re e bone tla ke go lefapheng le lela ga ke itse re ke siame ya bofelo tla ke go le hapeng le la temothuo ga go bua jalo ka kutlile tona kgolo ke bua maruru bua nnete tona kgolo go ntse jalo re di bone diteini di nna teng dikoko ga ntse go tsameiwa jalo dikoko di nna teng di newa baagi mme ntlha ke kganya metsi go a jalo a go etsa go jalwa yaanong masepala yaanong metsi a etsa 5 days ya sa tswe so seo se compromise food security lefapha la ga re sambatha le reng le lwa le one jaanong ha ntse re gagabela ko pele mo pusong ya boshupa dirang goreng le bue le di masepala gore ba getšwe ga go tlo go thusa gore ga re le puso ya province re tla metsi a ba hetsa beke a tswa be go jalwa diteini go nna go ntle mme a re etsa go hula ra re boela ko morago food security nna tlhora boroko le baagi ba rona le bone ba tlo le go ja dikokotse ka gore ga le etsa go tswa jana ba ja dikoko ba rekisa mathombo jaanong o ka reng e ka nna dilo tse di wa gakolang gore ba getswe saena ha gore ha o ka ja dikokotse molimisi a ka bua yana gore a re o tla lelwa ke ditshipo re tla go faena 500 rand gore wena o jele dikoko ke a leboga
ra leboga Vilakazi a re go go bakeng isa mike go gena
ke a leboga re Setswambu me ke re go gore mokgosi le kabinete a gagwe re ra lwa kgola gore le be le na le matsatsi a le 100 mo pusong jaanong potso tsa ka di ntse jana re mokgosi we have the bleeding SOEs in our province and I'm not sure that you touched on that when you were presenting your speech. In August, you mentioned that you're going to resolve issues of NTI. Ono ka ile ha maloba gore e tla be le selo sa maloba mme gompieno re kopa update on that issue. And then another question still goes to you regarding economic growth. You have mentioned other smallholders, but only particularly for agriculture. But in general, we do have SMMEs in the province. How do you assist them as the government so that they could at least contribute to our GDP? And then another issue Ntate Mokhosi, we had an issue go Northwest Social Development few years ago. I think you will remember that what happened there led to the removal of the former MEC Mebu Tumelo Muilwa, and also the removal or the HOD was transferred to Office of the Premier Ntate Relebohile Mafokane. So for now he is acting as HOD for DDECT. Ga ke itse gore matsapa e ka tswa ile eng mongwe wa me ke ne ke kopa gore o e tlhalosela and close this matter for once and for all. Gore, do you think that Ntate Relebohile Mafokane has relevant qualifications? Because this matter was raised before and now it's coming back again. And on that issue, there was a 133 security tender, 133 million security tender that caused all the halabaloo in that department. So the Office of the Premier took over that matter. Any update on that? Ke tla boa ke tabogele ha Department of Public Works and Roads. Re na le our government officials who occupied government houses. So far, according to the records, they were owing millions and millions to the government. So I want to understand, has the MEC for that department resolved that matter, and how far is it? Another issue, we do have so many properties across provinces which were under the former homeland Buputatswana. Like yaka ko Free State, you go Tabantu, you go to Pampristata, kako Northern Cape, there was a land that belongs to Northwest. And you go to Hammanskral, and some of these properties were taken over by individuals. So I want to understand if the Department of Public Works and Roads has decided or managed to register all these properties under the department as the custodian. Engwe ya bohelo ke tla tabogela ha department la ga mme Galebekwe. We had Taung Cultural Calabash Festival, but now that has, I'm not sure what happened to it, but the mme Galebekwe ka re ba mo leseding gore, do we still have Taung Cultural Calabash or not? And then the rest of ya bohelo ke tlhole mme Mochumi hale gore
e bohelo ya gagwe ga e hele moswena a nne ya bohelo ya
mme Mochumi ka I think few months ago re nnile le ona biditse all SGBs, and then there was an issue that was raised go Tiger Kloof Combined School gore there is a parallel structure there. Re na le SGB, re na le school committee. So we la tlhalosa gore nya within 2 months nka be ke resolve le mathata ao ke a lebogang khone.
ke leboga isamae ke go go lebogang o ba ke Maje from Taung Daily News ga wa ikitsisi.
Ke leboga Restwambu nna ke leboga moeng from Megadikgang newspaper. My first question is directed to MEC Moring. MEC Moring, I think you have received, I saw the media reports where you were alluding to the rising crime rate in the province. As a Mahican resident, I'm very concerned and worried about the alarming proportions of petty and heavy crimes in Mahikeng. particularly that is the capital city of the province. Petty crimes, that includes car breakings, that includes robbery at knife and gunpoint. It seems our police are not protecting us enough, MEC Moring. So I need you to respond and comment on the crime rate that is very escalating in the Mahikeng town. Especially that Mahikeng, I still maintain and repeat and emphasize that Mahikeng, I grew up knowing that it's a capital city of this province. So the crime rate going on at the moment, I believe it has got a negative impact towards attracting investors, especially with regard to the high unemployment rate in this province, especially in this town. My second question is to the provincial government as a whole. I just need to know what the government is intending to do to restore and revive the status of Mahikeng as a provincial capital city. Or are we saying Mahikeng is only an administrative capital city and then other cities are the ones that we regard as who having capital city status in terms of the infrastructure and administration that is being offered in those towns, especially Potchefstroom and Rustenburg. And then I also need to ask MEC Tlhapi. MEC Tlhapi, recently there's been what we call bidding of category A PSL matches, whereby municipalities and their various provinces bid to the PSL to bring category A soccer matches in their provinces. I haven't seen that in my past 6 years here. Even though we have infrastructure, we have Mabato Stadium, we have Royal Bafokeng, we have so much infrastructure in MEC Tlhapi, but I don't see facilities being utilized optimally to the benefit of us residing in the province. And then Public Works MEC, it's very concerning to see a former police headquarters being in a dilapidating state like the TTA is at the moment. I also went there this morning only to establish that the security guards at the gate are a private security company. So to layman on the ground, if I write an article and he asks me, hey Mona, how does a police officer get guarded by a private security? So I need clarity with regard to, is the Public Works Department reluctant to upgrade and maintain TTA? Because at the moment, as we see it, we can go now, Premier. The TTA is on the verge of vandalism. That I can guarantee, because I also stay behind the bridge. I've seen everything that has been taking place, even cutting off of the fence of the former police headquarters. Thank you very much.
Bonolo, are there questions from the social media platforms? Yes, you can come through to raise them.
Yes, we have two questions that are raised on the Northwest Press Club group. One is from Bishop Daniel Matebesi of Fountain of Hope newspaper. And he is asking what is the plan of the provincial government with regard to the Ditsobotla local municipality, which is struggling even to pay its employees. This has been going on for a long time now. The second question also raised on the platform reads as thus: Khetleng Refugee local municipality has been struggling with water for over 2 months now. The water tankers are not doing justice to give people water. There are boreholes that could give people water, but that is not happening. What is the provincial government doing to get this municipality to get functional and give services to the people? People have created squatter areas in Swartregens, and the municipality is not aligning those people into proper settlements like it did in Koster. Can the province intervene? Thank you. Those are the questions so far.
Thank you very much. Premier and the MSCs, those are the questions. Yes. The MSCs can come through to respond. MSC Morweng is breaking the ice.
Thank you very much. All protocol observed. In the interest of time, I'm going to attempt to answer the question in less than 3 minutes because there have been various questions asked to my colleagues. So I'll adhere to time. The question on scholar transport, like the Premier has indicated, we are finalizing the operators on a panel that are going to promptly respond whenever we've got problems, because we're experiencing unfortunate incident of service providers dropping us on the last minute. Now you'll recall that this scholar transport is ferrying learners to school and education remains a basic right. So it is for that reason that this panel is readily available to tactically respond whenever we experience these challenges. The delay in as far as the payment is concerned, we must also use this opportunity to speak to our people to update their CSDs, because this is giving us a problem. And we also encourage them to submit their claims monthly, because they submit them in bulk, and it provides, it becomes a strenuous process for us to can be able to verify them one by one, because the culture is that they submit them in 6 months periods, whereas we have agreed with them that every month they must be able to put their claim. That is creating us a serious problem. But we're also having a serious problem of fraudulent claims, and we as government, we can't process a fraudulent claims. That has also been a serious delay to the process. But over and above that, we will be introducing electronic payment system to make sure that we fast track these payments, and also strengthen the personnel within the internal control, as we have seen with the recent posts that we have advertised, so that we can be able to have a team that is readily available to process these payments of scholar transport. And then the update on the NTI, like we've indicated in the last press briefing, that our matter is before court. Yes, we got the court date on the 3rd to the 5th of September. We're in court in Gauteng, arguing to remove the current BRP because of how he has been running the company. And then we are awaiting the court outcome, because it remains our vehement view that the company is engulfed by a serious corruption activity that at its helm it is this BRP. And with regards to that, we've got a case of corruption that is that we have opened against the personnel, and investigations are underway with regards to that. It is for that reason that we are arguing before the court that he needs to be urgently removed, so that we can be able, the court can be able to appoint another BRP. But over and above that, the company needs a recapitalization plan. It is for that reason that the Premier has directed that we go out to look for a possible partner to can be able to assist us to get out of the financial crisis that we are faced with at that government company. I can speak with authority that the process to get the possible partner, it is at 90%. Before the Christmas, we would have concluded on that process, and we'll be able to get a suitable partner that ourselves and him or her will be able to come up with a tangible plan to recapitalize the company. The intention to sell the company, we do not have that intention, not under this 7th administration. The intention is to retain that people's investment, recapitalize it, make sure that it is healthy, to can be able to take out its services to the people. And the last question, it is the rising crime in Mafikeng. I have met with the police provincial commissioner, Lieutenant General Kwena, when we are launching the Saver Festive campaigns. The most important thing is to increase visibility in the city of Mafikeng. I always argue that the commission of crime, it starts first in the mind. Now, once we can be able to tap into the people's mind through the visibility of police, we would have dealt with that. But over and above that, the Premier has directed through his State of the Province address that we need to venture into technology to can be able to fight crime. There is there's a view rather to make sure that we do have cameras around the city of Mafikeng as a capital city that will be able to assist that. But over and above that, we also want to venture into the drone system. We are looking at the possibility of that so that we use the advanced technology to tackle the crime in the city of Mafikeng. I think those are the questions with regard to the department. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director, Honorable Premier and my colleagues, MECs, DG and HODs. Now, the issue of water availability, it's a reality. And that reality can only be mitigated by strengthening our working relationship with local government. Because you'll remember that the authority of water rests with municipalities. It might not be necessarily water for drinking purposes by communities, but it is water you need to activate projects that have to do with intervention, especially for poverty alleviation. We've already had a session with SALGA. We're discussing, Honorable Premier, an approach that it must be SALGA or a municipality that tells agriculture that the following wards are the ones that are highly impacted by poverty alleviation. And if you were to do an intervention on food gardens, please start with these wards so that it is linked to a program of municipalities of LED, so that the department does not go to a community and put a food garden. The ward councillor is not aware. The municipality is not aware. And then later you have projects of such nature collapsing. Then we agree with you on that issue, yeah, water availability. But water scarcity in the province is not only impacting on food gardens. You would also see that the geographic design that we have in the province, it's also giving us a problem. In areas where dominantly it's communal areas and it's areas under traditional leadership, you find that in most instances we have either a challenge of drinking water for livestock and grazing land in this instance. So that on its own is then dealt with on the basis that in the budget, both ourselves as the Provincial Agriculture and Rural Development and the national component of the Rural Development and Land Reform have a budget for boreholes. So that component is intervened at each time by boreholes. Lastly, when you see on the statement, the Premier has confirmed assistance which is budgeted for to 5,100 smallholder farmers. 5,100. The first category is 2,400. The second category is 2,700. And what we are developing as a department is that this 5,100 must not be missing in the end of the financial year. First, we must know what were they funded with actually. Secondly, we must have touched them in terms of training and development, both through Hura and through AgriSeta, so that when the financial year ends, Honorable Premier, we don't only account about expenditure of money, we account about incubation of smallholder farmers who first started at a basic level of assistance, this 5,000, so that you don't have a situation that the 5,100 remains a revolving number in terms of beneficiaries. Someone is helped through the same program this financial year, but the person does not grow. When there's another element opened for helping, he still applies for the same level of help. There must be graduation. This is the basic that each aspirant farmer should start at. Development and coordination by ourselves must then make them sustainable post this level. That one too also applies to the issue of food gardens. We are saying the strategy must be that if we help you today, we must consistently monitor you so that when that program collapses, we know you don't do food gardens today in Ngak and claim next month that I have food gardens in Ngak. You must claim because there's progress of production so that people who are in food gardens themselves will finally grow and become producers where they produce for issues of sustainability of their families. But there must be a component they produce to sell. So once you get a food garden, it must be an entry towards starting to becoming a subsistent farmer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I've got two questions. One from Obakeng, the second one from Obutile Bukhang. Let me start with the question here, Taung Calabash. Taung Calabash, of course, we still have that event in Taung. And Mabana has conducted all the district auditions, as you know, and there are winners to such. So all these winners will all participate at the provincial competition when we are going to host this Taung Calabash. But I cannot tell you the date now because I'm still going to meet with the board and the management. I'm still new. I've got only 30 days in office. So we are going to meet and agree with a date, but we are going to have a Taung Calabash in Taung, ka the date that we resetting. The second one was from Tate Obakeng. Unfortunately, as department, we do not have a budget to host such a category A event or games because we do not have resources. And I think the Premier and the Executive can hear, especially the MEC of Finance, can agree with me because she's also the former MEC of this department. And I know there were many letters that our people were requesting for such games to be hosted. So I think now that Okako Mading, she will now note, and me and you will have to work so that we can host such games. On the infrastructure, I agree, we do have infrastructures, but unfortunately, Royal Bafokeng, that you know, has been under renovations as we speak now. And we will engage with Khosi on the plans going forward. The former MEC Maine, has already started, and he met with SAFA to discuss hosting of these games. And I think I will also follow on his steps and make sure that we host these games. Your Bafana, your Banyana. We'll start with Banyana because I'm a woman. So we will engage with Khosi on that one. The Mabatu Stadium requires a major renovation, as we all know. We have already started to renovate it, but it is at a small scale, as we do not have money. So we are starting, and I'm sure maybe we will try to make sure that our infrastructure comply with these games. You all know that for category A games to be hosted, there are particular things that we need to follow, and we cannot just hold them and then tomorrow people are injured and we must account as government. I think we will over MTF make requests for for the renovations so that we can meet the standard of the PSL and the SAFA for the games that are of a high profile. We will do so, and we will engage on that. We are on discussion with Audit College to have them play their home games at Mabato Stadium. And I think there is a planned maintenance, like I've already indicated, there is a planned maintenance, but although it is at a small scale, but we are doing something. And then we have noted, especially now that EXCO we are here, games, and then we are with you. We will make sure that we meet the standard. The unfortunate part is that our infrastructure, more especially the PSL games. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the questions, Premier and MECs. In terms of, and I'm speaking on behalf of COGTA and Finance, the two municipalities that have been stated are under financial recovery, both Khetleng and Ditsobotla municipality. With Ditsobotla, we must indicate we are equally concerned with the challenges that are unfolding in Ditsobotla, and our team has been on the ground to support the municipality in the implementation of the financial recovery plan. We must indicate that we are concerned also at the level and the rate in which the implementation is unfolding, because there's a progress, but it's not necessarily promising, especially on other pillars of the financial recovery plan. What the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs has done is supporting and recognizing that the municipality is seriously under financial constraint. We have sent officials to support municipality at the senior management level, but that is dependent on the municipality accepting and assigning those officials different responsibilities, especially at the senior management level. And to this end, we have met with the municipality together, Finance and COGTA, including all the intervention team that is on the ground in Ditsobotla. We've met also with council and the executive to resolve some of the challenges and ensure that councillors as well understand the responsibilities, their responsibility in terms of oversight over the implementation of the recovery plan. We must indicate when there is there's no positive reception of the intervention, obviously the implementation will suffer, or the progress will be slow, not to the expectation that we would have. So it's still a serious matter of concern, but we are not stopping in terms of our engagement with the municipality. At least from what the Premier has presented in the previous financial year, there was no submission of the AFS. As a result, you can't locate Ditsobotla in the MFMA audit outcome, but we have concluded as the Provincial Treasury the submission of the annual financial statements. We assisted them to prepare them, and obviously it will not necessarily change, but from a compliance point of view, we would say that they have submitted. In terms of Khetleng, through the interventions that we have made allocating COGTA to support water shortages in the province, Khetleng, there's an internal reticulation and installation of water meters to the value of 7.5 million that we have supported Khetleng, both for the sustained provision of water prevention and losses of water in the Khetleng. And obviously, we are working with the team to ensure that we've stabilized the financial situation, make sure that there are systems in place, and improve the financial liquidity of the municipality, and overall ensure that from a service delivery point of view, we are not compromised. So we will continue to work and support COGTA and Khetleng to fulfill its obligation in terms of servicing the people. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, colleagues. I'm going to respond to only two questions from Tate Vilakasi and also Tate Obakeng there. Let me start with the second question that speaks to Tiger Kloof. I must indicate that, and I must remind colleagues that as government, we are governed by law. And South African School Act of 86 of 1996 is very clear to say that as the Department of Education, schools are governed by school governing body. And there are processes of electing school governing body. It further states that each and every 3 years, there must be election of school governing bodies. So it was only then, this year, when we realized during the election in that particular school, that that particular school actually, already has its own board of directors. But unfortunately, if you go through the act, it does not accommodate a board of directors, but rather it accommodates only the school governing bodies. That is why as the department, we had to continue with the election. Kamolao. So where we are standing as the Department of Education, we are very clear. We recognize only the school governing body, but I must indicate also that this particular issue, the legal service from the Department of Education is giving it a necessary attention, because at the end, we have to make sure that we resolve that particular matter as a matter of agency, because we can't have board of directors ba e leng gore ba feela gore their powers di supersede the powers of the SGBs. But the emphasis here is that right now we are focusing mainly on the act. School governing bodies are the ones that are supposed to govern our schools, not board of directors. But we are intervening. We had continuous meeting with both parties. We believe that in due course, that particular issue will be resolved. Secondly, there's a first question that was posed by Tate Villagas. I will always insist and emphasize on the South African School Act 86 of 1996. It is very clear, Villagas, and I must emphasize this in this particular platform, to say that the very same act that we have just quoted, it emphasized that it promotes actually education. It promotes access to education in our schools. I'm raising this deliberately, Villagas, because I have disbanded. Actually, it was disbanded by the district, by the HOD, Setlopo, SGB. It was disbanded based on their conduct. Premier, it can't be correct that the whole SGB that is supposed to assist us as the department are the ones actually babadirang anarchy in our schools. Setlopo Secondary School is one of the schools whereby the SGB, before the examinations, they went to school and closed that particular school. And they don't have rights to do that. Actually, they've contravened the very same constitution. Eba remba protecta bana bayona. As the department, we've taken upon ourselves of making sure that we open a case against that particular HGB. But as the MEC, I'll continue to engage with that particular disbanded HGB, because there are issues that they want to raise with the MEC. So definitely I'm going to create that particular platform where we try to check what are those particular issues. And I must also indicate that as the department, we are continuously encountering challenges in terms of role clarification when it comes to your SGBs versus your principals. It seems like our school governing bodies, they tend to forget that the very same principals, they are part of component, they form composition of the SGB. So all of them, they are part of SGBs. And they are guided by the Act. There are processes that needs to be followed if there are any issues. But it does not give anybody a right to go and disrupt teaching and learning. So those are the issues that we are confronted with, Premier. But we have dealt with that particular issue of Setlopo because according to the Act, it allows the HOD to disband where necessary, because we have tried our level best to resolve, to try to unify the principal together with the SGBs, but we are not registering any progress in that particular regard. So now our priority is to prioritize our learners and our educators in making sure that we protect teaching and learning. So those are the issues. And also, Premier, there were issues regarding the issue of high rate of unemployment, where there were issues regarding many young people not having a grade 12 certificate. I must also insist, Premier, through you, if you allow, to say that your government is very clear, especially through the Department of Education. We are forever encouraging those that they don't obtain their grade 12 certificate. Go na le di-programs tse di bidiwang di-ABET, tse e leng gore ke mahala, Premier, through your initiative. So we'll continue to encourage them as much as Badilaka Matsogo, Revilakas and so on, but grade 12 is very important. Even EPWP, for you to be appointed as a beneficiary there, one of the requirements is grade 12. So it's very important for us to work together in making sure, especially these young people, we secure their future of having that certificate. Thank you very much.
Ke a leboga motsamaisi tiro, ke a tshepa gore dipotso tse dingwe tse di boditsweng di arabesegile. Ke tla arabela hela mo go eme Mamojumi a sa tswang go tswa mo go yona ya gore re isa kae bao ba senang matric. Lo tla gopola gore mo puong ya ga the Premier, he made a commitment that his government is going to intensify skills development. And just focusing on the past 3 months, I must indicate that by the end of this November month, I can safely indicate that the Premier would be sitting with the the Minister for NSF to pronounce publicly a massive program on skill development that is going to benefit our people, especially the organized structures that are key in our communities to deliver services. So part of that MOU that the Premier have signed with the National Skills Fund includes how we collaborate with the TVET colleges. But the practical implementable statistics are available. We have signed, I think in the past 2 days, the Premier received a brief on how the whole program is going to unfold as led by the Department of Economic Development. So, Risiami, we are going to cover them through the collaboration area National Skills Fund. But other than that, DDECT has also made a commitment. I think the training is going to unfold by the end of this month, where 600 men and women across the province, especially women and young people, will be located on different areas like your business licensing, as well as placement on different tourism facilities of the province for purpose of maintenance. So obviously it will cater those that are skilled even if they are not matriculated. There's also a question on SMME support. I think it's important to start to tlhalosetsa baagi ba rona what exactly do we cover as we have a broader look on SMME, because re a di mixa le tsa gore ga o batla tendera we categorize gore SMME and how sa e kry-a o fila gore di SMME ha di a supportiwa. Now go important gore re lo categorize gore the government ya Northwest in terms of dealing with this. We have in the past 3 months engaged on a marathon of collaborations, networking, as well as call for investors, because as government alone, we cannot make it with the little that we have. And I think the Premier has successfully mobilized enough. I can tell you that but I saw you when the Premier was with the Minister for Small Business, Mr. Landabeni. Mr. Landabeni collaborated with our government, and the Premier and the MEC was there, where we received through collaboration as small business an amount of the projects and programs said worth 97 million. We did not sleep, we were all over the province. If you have time for extension of your interviews, I can categorically tell you from municipal number 1 to 18 how our people have benefited out of this 97 million of collaboration with the Department of Small Business and CEDA. People have those things as we speak, be it from the part of agriculture, be it from any other angle but our SMMEs throughout the province have benefited. Close to 237 SMMEs across the province from Buphirima, Hohela, ka Bojanala, they have benefited. I am also going to touch a bit on what MEC Senugi has indicated, Kumaspale Ngwadi Chobotla. This government has directed us to focus more on the people of Dichobotla, and we must also clarify to the public that the service of government will not only be witnessed through the functionality of the municipality. We have, as the Department of DDECT, through this government, contributed up to so far through the collaboration with the National Department. I have personally delivered to 5 wards of the municipality projects and items which are in the form of equipments that respond to the needs of our people that are organized as cooperatives or SMMEs, that worth close to 7 million. I have delivered them. I can tell you who received them. I can tell you when. Even this Friday, I'll be in Budibe because the Premier went there through Tunsalerole, and the Premier has committed that we are going to give our people services, and will be in Budibe, Lekhosi, contributing again the commitments of this government, the equipment that worth to close to 2.8 million. So those things will always be on our Facebook page of the Premier together with the Department of DDECT. Still on SMME support, how important the government of the 7th administration has done enough to our tourism sector, with specific reference to Batwarna Bachansi Batlhaloganye gore ga se re hela ha o kwala frugo o bo romela khago MEC e tshwantse qualify. Part of what we have done as the 7th administration through this department was to relook into the framework and the legislation that directs how to do funding and which areas of tourism we should focus on so that we bring balance to our people. We must start to know that we have that framework. We have appointed an interim board. It has adopted a policy on funding. From now on, we are not going to fund any proposal that is not responding to a call for proposal that will be open for public, that will be very clear on the specific categories to cover. That's how we are going to work as directed by the commitment Premier. We must also know gore batho ba rena ba sa shebela go rekisa botlhe le go stoka. The Premier has also launched last weekend ganne re tletse ko Sun City kwa go tresenya madi. Our people must also understand that we have not paid a cent. The industry around collaboration of this government with the University of Stellenbosch, the University of Northwest, the other private sector came together because they are saying to government they want to make a commitment on the biodiversity economy, focusing on mainly conservation and climate change. So Leona, a lot that we have supported. I think the Premier is also going to, we have just received this morning the commitment by the University of Stellenbosch. How the Stellenbosch is going to also extend this, I think, MEC Musumi, to the learners that are going to do well in the subjects that are going to make our learners to focus on conservation so that we massify environmental studies so that the issue of climate change, we are the department that is going to advise government on climate change and how planning should go. So, lastly is on before investment, tax shop economy. I know there's always questions about tax shops. We're living in a new era. We're no longer talking tax shops. If you look at the new act that now speaks of the general dealer approach to the operations of our people, that we need to have a setup where our people are able to have an establishment eba dirang gore ba compete in the space. Gore sa itira home affairs, because now I cannot say anything about what is anti. That will make me to go to China whilst I have said something negative in my own country. So, and I'm glad that in our strategic plan, re buile ka so se sa gore re tle go dira di support ya rona ya go tswa mo ya go informiwa ke gore ga re nna le operation mo already ka the end of November. Premier will be launching from this establishment, department, what we call 10-10-18. Ra go collaborate le di maspa go nela batho ba rona. When we give them a general dealer, it will be a general dealer that is smart, that respond to the indigent register of the municipality, that speaks to the national school nutrition. Kore ga ile mo a gona re batho ba ka go reka dijo ko Vryburg tsa go feeda dikolo. A gona re sasa e ka ya go batla di hempara go sell. That will be responding to all those needs, and it will also be monitored through a system that is smart, that is going to make them also got empowered and create jobs. Ke tsona seo sa di investment, I think Premier became very clear mo selong sa gagwe. O ke lebetse ena ya di SOEs. This afternoon, 2 o'clock, I'll be debating on this matter, go NCOP. It is not only a matter of the Northwest. It is a matter of the country, and the country has realized that we need to find a way to change an approach and the framework of how we used to do, to approach the SOEs. Mr. Ronachona, I can tell you for the past 3 months since we started the 7th administration, there has never been a call for bailout, the SOEs. What we are busy doing is to look into what the Premier gave us as a panel of expert report. Because already the 6th administration, we are working on that, and we are going to be very radical to implement issuable map investigations and all these other workable solutions, including finding a solution to how to run the affairs of all those operations that the SOEs are not operating. We have also advertised, all the SOEs we have advertised for boards, they have just closed. We have also reviewed the regulations on who should serve in the boards. So members of the public are discouraged from now on that if they have interest to direct the feeling and the thinking of government, that is not what they will have to do in the boards. But what is important is to form part of what the government will want to achieve as a shareholder by the existence of these SOEs. Ke tsona hela tse ke di sharing a mangwe ke maaka ba gae. Thank you.
Mareza, are you fine? Today, it seems people don't have questions for health. The leadership we have is quite all right. So there are no issues for health. Unless on the second round, maybe we must not be too ambitious. That all is hunky-dory at health. I want to start on, I think the MECs have responded. But I want to speak about this one here, the category man, Virginia, category A. Now my challenge, these games, which teams should we actually bring to Mafike? Now, go na le di-team tse dingwe a ke tlo go di bua ka maina di na le serodumo hela mare ga di tshameke sentle. Now the issue is should we just bring people to the stadium because ba tlo tlala ka stadium, but we are not entertained. We are not entertained. So let's bring teams that are playing good. So we'll have to discuss that, Virginia. But there are teams that are playing well every weekend, and they are winning their games successfully. So Baba hot and cold, we are not sure about them, but they've got the support. But let's agree that it's something that we need to look into, so that once our facilities are up to scratch, they meet the necessary standard of compliance by both SAFA and PSL, we must actually start to begin discussions formally. But obviously, I'm telling you, they're going to ask for money for you, and that's where so we must start talking about that and look what does it mean, because we need to actually entertain our people. The other issue that speaks to public works, TTA. You see, the issue of private security at TTA, the whole thing, you can't have, we can't have men and women trained to be police men and women. Then oboba dira happy the guard, it's at the building. The whole idea is that we must have visible policing. We must have more men and women in the street combating crime, not to guard buildings. They are not trained for guarding buildings. So I think that's the reorientation of what we're talking about. So we need visible policing, and obviously people are complaining. We don't have police all over the province, Basota and so on. So we can't then have them being cut. I think the understanding should come from that background. But also the TTA and other departments which are national based, Home Affairs, Correctional Services, Home Affairs and so on, are not provincial competence. So where we are now is that we can facilitate, collaborate, notify, but there are buildings in the province which are under national public works, not provincial public works. So whilst our community, they see buildings, they call them public works. There are houses which are under national public works and not provincial public works. So there is that distinction. So we should agree that the provincial public works buildings, the instruction has been very clear. Let's audit our buildings throughout the province. To be more specific, in Mahikeng, let's look at our buildings in Mafikeng. And in the context of giving Mafikeng a better facelift, let's look at these buildings. There's generally a crisis of accommodation in Mahikeng, for government in particular. Let's reposition all these buildings in Mafikeng for restoration and revival of Mafikeng. All government buildings here that we are targeting that are not being utilized, let's have a program, and that's what public works have been told. Let's audit them. Let's look at their maximum utilization, where government can still invest in them for repositioning, in particular for office accommodation. It's important. New office blocks for accommodation is important. Combating crime in Mahikeng also. That's what the MEC said. We are focusing on that because there's generally high level of crime in Mahikeng, especially in the city center. He spoke about the technology that we spoke about. But it's important that this government must then put a multi-year program on how do we then convert all these buildings. And if government says it's not going to utilize them, let's give and donate to municipalities, donate to NGOs, donate to other structures which are non-governmental. But first, public works must take that stock. I think I'll be receiving a report on that because I pronounced on that when I made my official opening of the legislature. The issue that speaks to rentals and the evictions. You know, government employees, at times even senior government officials, they don't pay rent. They are just defaulters. I think that's what was said by that was the question was saying. There are people who are not paying rent. So a tenant, whether you are senior government or you are a junior official, when you stay in a state-owned house, you must pay. And that thing is regulated. How much are you supposed to pay? Whether are you SMS or are you a junior official. No, they must treat you the same way. Now, there are three options that they must do, which Public Works is busy with. When they release contracts, you will not get a contract when you are owing government. Why should we give you a contract and you are not paying? Secondly, what they have to do is to take you to the housing tribunal. That setup is meant for the landlord and the tenant. It's vice versa. Either you go there as a tenant or you go there as the landlord. to facilitate and mediate. If there is a need for termination, Public Works must terminate. After termination, if there is a need for eviction, they must evict. They must source a court order to evict, whether you're senior government official or a junior official. You can't have lawlessness. I can tell you, part of the problem in South Africa is lawlessness. It's lawlessness. People decide to take over state-owned properties and they are just being left and they are not challenged. The laws of the country are clear. We must follow the laws when we have to evict people. We must not feel helpless as government. That's what I said to senior officials. Follow the law when you feel that a transgression has been made. So there must be clear approach on people who are defaulting on rentals. If government must regularize occupation as an option to mediate, you regularize and negotiate new terms and conditions. It's as simple as that. So you don't have necessarily to evict, get court orders. You get there, you mediate. If there's a need to regularize, you agree on terms and conditions, and the matter is closed. But defaultee must face the might of the law and that process to be followed. And I spoke about properties in the province. There are properties which are outside the province, and in particular in Gauteng, the Northern Cape, and the Free State, which are Northwest Development Corporation, majority of them. We have audited these properties. We know them. They are still property of the Northwest government. We have agreed that we need to have sessions with other provincial governments on these assets in terms of their utilization. If it means we must auction them, if it means we must transfer them, those are the matters that the MEC for Finance will advise. But it's important to note that we are alive to the fact that we've got property of the province which are in other provinces. Of importance is, are we able to utilize them even if they are in other provinces for purpose of making money for this province? So that assessment also will be done. But it's a matter of agency, as many of our people in the province believe that we are not paying the necessary attention. Some of them are in those provinces and they are not even being utilized. They are being vandalized being outside the province. And they don't belong to those provinces, they belong to us. Actually, we are creating problems for those provinces. So we should come to the party. At least I spoke to Premier Panyaza in Gauteng. We have agreed tentatively that we'll have to have a meeting to discuss such issues. The image of Mafikeng, like I said, if you recall, we also spoke about having to do a double carriage into Mafikeng when I opened the legislature, just to uplift the face of Mafikeng. Public Works, as this stage, designs are ready. What is important is the sourcing money that has to go into that project. It will be a multi-year project. As you get into Mafikeng, there's a dual carriage that comes in, and as a result, when you get into the Denville, you need to then deal with the bridge. When you leave the crossing, there's also a bridge there. You need to deal with that and make it a dual carriage. So those are the plans that we have which needs money, but the commitment is there as part of uplifting Mafikeng. But also to reduce the traffic that gets through town. You need then to take a road that from Denville, you go through Birmasdrift, you go to the Ramatlamapa border to redirect traffic. And that road also, I started Public Works to start working on such projects. So it's important that as we do all these other initiatives, the road infrastructure as we get into Mafikeng is also looked into. The social development. I used to be a former MEC of social development. I was there for some time. When I arrived, the first challenge was the security tender. Somebody spoke about it. I focused on that security tender. We took it through audit process, and successfully what we did, I engaged the service providers, because the audit showed me that there were some flaws in terms of how the whole process was done. But not that would make it irregular. But the fact remains that audit itself stated clearly the challenges that were there when this thing was done. But we then engaged service providers, and mutually so, we agreed that we must terminate. So that's why they never took it to court when we successfully. So when I left it there, the report I know is that the tender was, they were given notices, they were notified, they agreed, they were terminated. You have seen, I think, an advert of a tender security at social development. It's a product of that engagement, which I did when I was an MEC for social development. So it's done and dusted. There's an issue on the qualifications of Ntate Mofokate. Okay. Mafokat. Or Mofokat. Okay. Like you hopola olo opela nkana ke ma Arthur Mafokat. I'm not sure why this thing is keep on coming. It's explained, and every now and then people raise it. I'm not sure for what reasons. But the long and short of that is that the minister, during Section 100 for Public Service and Administration, agreed that Ntate Mofokane is qualified. The report is there from the Minister of Public Service and Administration. But people were not happy. They went to the public protector. The public protector investigated. The report of the public protector says the man is qualified for the position. Nobody, even those who contested, took it on review. Agrimulawar House Adumalan with the public protector's decision. You take it on review, it means you must go to court. Nobody went to court. The report is there. If you doubt, go to public protector's website. Go and Google our man. Go there, you'll see the report is there. The public protector says the man is qualified. So I don't understand why is it. Eska tlhole budiwa gompieno ne la bohelo re tswadile o doubtang a ye go etsa on review. I provide additional information to the courts. Ara utlwana. Ke a le kopa ba gaetswe. The last part is the issue on unemployment. I think MEC on our massive skills development program that we are busy packaging, and in particular for those who don't have matric, so that through the National Skills Fund and collaboration with NYDA, UIF, TVET colleges, we are able to channel properly so that they must also have some form of certificate, either they are employable, they are able to employ themselves, or they become employable. So we are looking at that. But in particular, we should look at trades that make them artisans, and whether they use their hands and so on, so that they can be utilized for self-employment and other things. But for now, I think the issue that relates to water was addressed, the issue of municipalities was addressed. But just in conclusion, until we understand that a municipality is a government, and I'm emphasizing that point, that every time the questions will come to us as provincial government, municipality ke government, kabon, and even people who are there, they must still be reorientated to understand that they are a government at a local level. So their responsibility to ensure that they do and render services to our people. By law, we have limited authority over them when things are not in order. Certain things and powers that we have, which we can do, are within particular laws of the country. Others, if they don't collaborate, we have a challenge of how do we enforce them. But the reality is that when things are bad, the buck stops with the provincial government. So our role is to support municipalities, but there must be administrative and political willingness of accepting assistance. Wawana how bobola, if you are sick and you don't accept that you are sick, ne, in your mind, you must accept horwa bobola. Because then it becomes easy for the doctor to cure you. Because in your mind, you know, one old lady took a child to a hospital. When she arrived there was no medication. Then the doctor gave this old lady and the child water. Just pure water. Because now, when you are a municipality like Ditsobot, and you don't accept that wa bobola for getting proper diagnosis and proper prescription, ne? Mariano Ditsobot la ga accept gore ya bobola. Typical. Provincial government says, we want to help you with senior managers to come and assist you on different areas where you don't even have financial capacity to pay senior managers. They refused. We said to them, you don't have the money to pay municipal manager. Wait. Let's assist you to mobilize, galvanize your local economic development strategy, your financial recovery strategy. How are we going to galvanize business to come back here? Once you are sustainable, I can tell you, Ditsobotaka rental services, they can sustain themselves. They've got the potential and the capacity. But they are not focused on those, on economic development. They are not focused on building the economy, even collection. Their billing system, they are not getting it right. Because once they can get their billing system right, they will make the necessary. People who are supposed to pay there, who can afford to pay, they're not paying. Because the billing system of the business is a problem. Now I'm saying once we wanted to assist them on those things, they refused. They want to employ people for the money that they don't have. We said you can't employ 5 senior managers at a cost of 1.5 million per person. When you calculate that, including the bills permission with 2 million salary, it took their salary bill to about additional to their 12, 13 million per month to about 16. SEO, when it's month end, people are supposed to be paid. They say the district must pay. They say the provincial government must pay salaries. Where do we get that money from? When we say, okay, let us help you how to make money and sustain yourself, they say, no, we don't want your help. Your sanitation is a problem. Your water distribution is a problem. We are bringing skilled people. They don't accept them. So I'm saying it's important that we must accept that Maspala Waditsobota, through all the interventions that we have made to date, as provincial government, we're going to continue to support them. But there must be that willingness. And we have not given up. We'll continue through our Department of Local Government and Treasury to support them within the provided legislation. Thank you very much. I don't know whether are there still further questions, or we are satisfied.
If they have the appetite for the last round. Is there an appetite for the last round? It looks like that. It looks like that. So this will be our last round. We'll start with Obakeng, that side. Can we take the mic, that side? Anyone else? Okay, except Obakeng and Lebogang, no one else. All right. Oh, Villagas. So those are the 3.
Ke a go leboga Rre Setswambu. Mo primary ente ke re ke a go akgola ka ponelo pelo e o nang le yone mme rata banna ba ba tshwanang le wena ba ba nang le ponelo pele. Jaanong potso ya ka e nngwe ke ye gape ka ntlheng ya gore nako ele ke kgaotswe.
And at this time, I'm not sure what is it, 5 acre. It's a but
Thank you.
Thanks.
Premier, is there any plans to disband the council ya Ditsobotla? That's the question that I wanted to ask, because there are some issues regarding the appointment of municipal manager Rebo Josinyana. Ka hore last time ha re bua re molapisi o tlhalositse gore we bone hela jaaka rona ko social media gore Rebo Josinyana ke ene tlhako go lla sa gagwe ka kwa. Yaanong ke ne ke batla go botsa mo the department ya COGTA gore have they received a official report that we have appointed municipal manager ke Rebo Josinyana, le gore a gona le di plans tsa go ka disbanda council ka ntleng ya gore ga ba utlwi kwa Ditsobotla jaaka o tlhalositse. Potso ye nngwe gape ya bohelo ke ya o buile ka political willingness. Right mo malobeng ha lekoko la rona le re le ratang thata la ANC le ne le beile setlhako hatsi le ntsha di mayor ka ko Greater Town Local Municipality la go gawana le di le le tabogela ga kagisano hale, mme boraro bo boikeme ba re bone ga bo e gope bo ngaparetse. Jaanong ga ke itse gore o batla gore o ba matolle jaaka lekwati gore la go bereka jang ka bone ha ba gana go tsamaya jana. Thank you.
Thank you, Bucks. Lebo. Orle kwatili bereka ya.
Thank you once more, Restwambu. Premier, this question is directed to you specifically. Last year, when you were still the MEC for social development, I personally engaged you with the delay of the Ramatlabama Old Age Center, whereby after your intervention, the Steve Gate was issued to the applicant after 3 years. So I need to know from the Social Development Department and you as the former MEC, what is the progress regarding to that? Because in Ramatlabama, we really need a safe haven for our elders. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Vilakase.
Ke a leboga gape ko Ditsobotla ke mathata bana ba mo mona matsogo a dijeresi ya no tota go mathata. Re bua ka malatsi a le lekgolo re ntse re gagabela go a go pele ya no re se Tswambu go tshwana setlhopha sa Kaizer Chiefs ya se wina go itumelwa go nna monate. Me jaanong ke lema gore go tsamaisa puso go ntse jalo go nna letsele tse leng goreng di tla di tlhagella. Re ne re etile re na le wena re le hari go le monate ka kwa Moses Kotane ka kwa re bona metšhini ya di x-ray e leng gore gate mo ha o tshware on flop o Vilakazi re go itahela ka electronic bile ya go Dr. Sebane bana itlhaitobetsa re nya monna o robegile mesifa. Mme mo bontleng jotlhe bontle bone bo teng ba getšho gare gane mo bontleng jotlhe maloba re sang batho na lla ena re la ka storo sa mahikeng sa melemo mo ka re tshantse ditleliniki tsa rona go magaeng di temogela ntlhe ya tlhaelo a melemo di kroniki ba go le go utlwile botlhoko maloba mme o mongwe a batla melemo a di sukiri mo di chemist go te ga e yo are ke a re go boikhutso tleliniki ga rena melemo ntlha e ya melemo ya di kroniki ya bagolo ya di high blood re gatela yang go pele go gone gore go tswa go pusong ya borataro re tlogele go ya bosupa re gatele pele ka ntlha e ya melemo. Mme bitsa leng kopane ke tla go bakanyetsa wa go high freight ga gore ke go batlela mokoko o kgone go nwa mora o tsena kwa mo moshong ka 8 o'clock. Jaanong ntlha ka ke ye meleng kopane wena le no first game Bulimboto ntlhe ya metšhini go metšhini mo di spaza shopong tsa ma Somalia tsa ma Asia metšhini e tshamekiwa ka 2 ranta ga ke nagane gore game Bulimboto lo a itse gore metšhini ye e teng bile e re tsenyetsa ledi mo nageng kgotsa mo provinceng gore ha ke tse gore re ungwelwa ka metšhini eo. Jaanong le samagana le metšhini ka re ke lemogile go Rustenburg nkile go nna le metseletsele ya tsewa mare ga e hetsa go tsewa metšhini e gape ya boa gape e nna teng metšhini ye gape e ha go nna le operation ya sepodisi le operation ya mafapha ha o tsena go sephaza shopo metšhini o nyeletse ha mapoisa a etsa go tsamaya metšhini e yabo la go monitora ya metšhini e sa re ireleng sepeng ke tsena mo ntlheng ya dimaene tona kgolo le komiti ya gago ye tla advisa mo go tsa ikonomi ra utlwa le ko bo Rustenburg Glencoe ya agile sekolo mara ha o lebella mongaka modiri molema re na di dimaene yo Sephaku yo Lavage gate ke a Freemantle o ya yo PPC batho ba nkile bua ka bone ba ande batho ba na ke bone gore ba ira mo ba tsang bona go agiwa beke le beke dilori di a heta di a Botswana di a Namibia ka di cement di a heta di palama dikepe ba aga go bo China di bridge ka di brand tsa kalaka ye tswang ka mare batho ba nkikutla go biwa ka bone mo pusong gote ba getšo re bula grade check ye ke ya ga PPC ba getšo re bula eng ke ise ke sa ga Lavage batho ba ke wa riti ka batho ba ka gore ba bangwe ba epa ko gae kwa mare ha ke je sip ke a leboga
re a leboga oh go na le tse di tswang mo social media re tla feleletsa ka tsone.
Thank you. The last two questions from the Northwest Press Club by Ananias Ndlovu of Naledi News. Premier, are you aware that the media industry is facing a slow decline globally, and the Northwest is no exception? In the future, you might find yourself addressing a press briefing attended by only the SABC. The lack of support from some departments and municipalities in disregard of the MDDA Act is killing local media. Please, EXCO, consider adding this urgent matter, support for local media by the Northwest government, to your next agenda. The second question, Restombu, MEC Mutsumi, you mentioned that no learner would be denied the chance to attend matric camps due to inability to pay. However, it is continuing. What can parents do if their children are still being denied access for this reason? Thank you.
Thank you. MEC Lehare, re tla simolola ka wena. This round there is a question for you. And then MEC Lenkopane will follow and the Premier will close the round of questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Premier. Fellow MECs, SG, HODs, Media House. Well, Premier, I think there is no question from health. This man just want me to come here and talk. There is no question. We have challenges around April, May of distribution of medicines. We have intervened as a department at our depots where we store our medicine. As I speak now, we are around 80%. From 40, 45, April, May, June, now we are around 80. We are moving close to 100% come January. So for now, we don't have serious challenges of distribution of medicines. I think I'm done. That's a very easy question.
No, thank you very much, colleagues. There's only one question regarding the issue of incubation processes. As we all know that our matriculants have started with their examinations. And before the examinations, as the MEC of the Department of Education, I was very clear to say that our motto is that we must not leave nobody behind. The same applies to the Department of Education. I did recommit to say that as a department, we are not going to leave any child behind in terms of incubations. Because incubations, the objective behind us incubating these particular learners is to thorough making sure that we prepare them for the examinations. As we all know that our target is between 86 and 90 for this academic year. So I'll encourage parents, like for example, there are schools where, like I've already indicated that our schools are being governed by our SGBs. So in most instances, there are decisions and they are allowed, the SGBs, to take any decisions on behalf of the school. But most importantly, the very same SGB, it is their responsibility also to engage the parents because they are representing the parents. So if there are any issues regarding any learner who is being disadvantaged, not having money, for example, to pay for the camps, I'll continue to urge our principals and our SGBs because I was very clear to say that go skebe ga nna le ngwana ope o discriminatewang because of the background. Ha ngwana a re ga ana ledi la gore a patele gore e nne part ya that particular incubation, it is the responsibility of that particular school of making sure that that particular learner is part of the incubation. So far now, from my own salary, I think I've paid for close to 20 learners. They were unable to attend incubations because of issues such as that. Sometimes 500 rand, sometimes even 100 rand and so on. So I'm continuing to encourage the SGBs and the principals to reprimand them in this particular platform to say that the decision was taken to say that each and every child only the right to incubationing. Rather, if there are any challenges, it is their responsibility of engaging us. We have intervened in so many schools because and so on. If only issues are the and everything, it is their responsibility to engage us at the level of cooperating, making sure that we assist them. But we do have our Facebook page that is very active. If you are encountering such particular challenges, you don't have to wait for this particular platform because already it's late. Use whatever platform that is there. O kgone go notify ka such act so that as the MEC I'm able to intervene. Re bone gore ra go kae ko pele. Thank you very much.
Ke a leboga motsamaisi tiro ne ya ka ke e ya di 2 ranta e gore go tlhalose yana gore nako le nako ga re ya ko ntlheng ya thuntsha lerole engwe ya tsere di gabileng ke go samagana le illegal gambling mme go nna le dinako tse re dirang e tona mo go tsona jaaka ka di 30 tsa October re ne re dirile letsholo le golo leo re neng re focusitse mo illegal gambling ya ko Potchefstroom le ya ko Lichtenburg le ya ko Stelfontein ka gore ne re utlwile menyenyetsi ya dintlha tseo di bolelang tseo mme ko Lichtenburg le ko Stelfontein re kgonne go kry-a cooperation ya the magistrate ka gore neela warrant of search santsane re na le mathatanyana a re tla buisana le mokhuduthamaga mabapi le Stelfontein ka gore ke gone sentlhaga go ya ka go bolelwa but re ka tlhalosa yana gore re kgonne go tsaya machine eo e lekanyediwang go 920,000 e re kgoneng go e gapa ya tsone di 2 rantanyana tseo kgotsa gambling e seng ka ga molao mme dikgetsi di butswe di le pedi tseo ga yana go ka nnang ga tshwanelwa gore go ya ka molao bao ba ka tshwarwang ba itlhelo ba le molato mo ntlheng eo ba ka beelwa ko ntlwana le hitshwaneng for dingwaga tse di ka seheteng lesome. But in addition to that, like ke tlhalosa gore mo dikgweding tse pedi tse re semagane gape le gore ke bo mang ba ba tshwereng dilotlole ka gore mmereko wa rona tota rona ke go tsenya mo tirisong molao le tsamaiso ya one nka tlhalosa yana gore go batlhankedi bangwe e seng hela mo gambling including le ko hunting le tse dingwe bao ba seseng ba beetswe kwa thoko ka ntlha ya gore ba bangwe le bone ba itlhetswe le bone ba na le letsogonyana mo ntlheng eo mme ga ke na go tsena mo dintlheng ka gore re tlhomile ntlha eo matlho so ke bona re dira bontle ebile re se ra bua hela ka gore di-machine di gone re tlhalose le gore mabane ne re kry-a sekgele gape ke tswa Gauteng mošong go tsaya sekgele sa gore re bone re le mo maemong a boraro ya ka province ya responsible gambling go ela tlhoko gore batho ba rona ba gamble ya ka ke tlhalositse gore e nngwe re gwetlhang batho ba rona ke gore gambling lo nwe bojalwa lo dire di-license re kgone go ira batho gore ba nne le madi ba borekise mme go diro jalo ka maikarabelo ka gore molao wa rona gape ga go neela license go neela gore go nne le maikarabelo ntle re kgona go lonaya disaluni lotlhe ba bangwe a ba ithekisetse majalwa re tla tsenya di-gambling licenses go tla gambolwa mme ka fa molao ke a leboga.
Let's now summarize. A re bue ka di-mine. I think we should agree that the mining, in most of instances, but into what is called social labor plans. Either a community or a labor hosi and so on. And this is exactly where these other community investment projects must be part of that agreement. Now, we are aware that the miners did such agreements, but finally they don't honor such social labor plans. Now, what we have decided in the office is that we are in discussions on how are we going to convene all the mining houses in the province. We are busy establishing the miners in the platinum belt. Ki di miners tse feng? Di miners tse re nang le tsone ko Taung, mo Ngaka Modiri Molema, ko Dr. KK. And once we have gathered that information, we will also use the convening power of the presidency to get hold of these mining houses. But firstly, it's their social labor plans for the communities where they are working. Two, it's about what investments are they putting in place over and above the social plans for those communities on how are they economically viable, participating more economy ya maspa ya mine. Because it can't be gore go na le mine, mar mine o kry di supplier ra go tloga go Gauteng. It can't be. So it's not about go ragela creche, go ragela borehole. It's about the economy of the mine. So it should go beyond that. The community that stays there must participate in the value chain of the mine. The ultimate thing should be, how then do you localize? But secondly, they must also talk to us about the post-mining economy. Because this mining cannot be there forever. If that mineral is there for 10, 20 years, what about after 20 years? So the post-mining economy is an issue for me that these mines must talk about. And so on. So once we have audited, gathered them under one roof, there are three issues. One is the SLPs. Two is their participation in the economy of the mine. Finally, how then do you beneficiate locally? Thirdly is the post-mining economy. Those are the three things that I'm interested in. So we will soon get there, Abu Tiak. The other thing is I just indicated, Hore, on the media expenditure, just since we came. I said it in my concluding remark. Hore, I made a commitment that we are going to also support our local media companies. And I've said that we have not spent less, and I want to be specific now. We spent 5.4 million on local radio stations, just for this period. We also spent 8 million on the printing work of the media, locally in the province. So it's a good start. We think that next time we'll tell you which departments, because there are departments, is it arts and culture, is it public works, and which departments are not coming to the party. And they are here, the HODs are here. All of them must use local media for printing, including for radio station, for adverts and any other related matter. We must support our local people. It's not a negotiable something. So I think it's closed. The issue of the NPO or the Ramatlabamba old age, I think you raised it with me, I intervened. Where we are now, they must be assisted. I think they are being assisted to finally register as an NPO. Because they must follow the Older Persons Act compliance for you to be called that you are an NPO that deals with that sector. And therefore, once those things are done, the department is busy engaging. We will monitor progress in terms of how that thing is done. But I think it's a matter that meme quoting for o tla dira sure gore that thing happens. Finally, we want to assist it to be what you want it to be. Lastly is the issue of the Tsobotla. Like I said, there is no intention of disbanding the Tsobotla. It was disbanded. I cannot for us to have this new council. It was disbanded. I mean, previously there were other stringent interventions that were made in the Tsobotla. So there's no intention to disband them. We must correct the wrongs that are happening there. We have received a report on the appointment of the municipal manager. We went through it and audited it. There are irregularities on how that appointment was done. We have approached the court of law for a declaratory order to make that appointment null and void. So the court will decide. That's why I'm saying we are a law-abiding citizens. We are respecting the rule of law, and therefore will follow what the law says. I think we are done. Thank you very much for the day. Okay. No, Maswabi, ga se puso e ntshang di mayor. Ga se ke tsamaye re tshware press conference re ntsha mayor, and therefore ga gona sepe se re kgonang go se report ka go tswa ga mayor. Re maje o tla kopana le rona ko NGO. Thank you very much.
O tletse re maje kere. Ba ga tshotla ke tse tshono e ke no lebogeng gore le be le tlile fa bobega kgang ke maikaelelo a puso e ya bosupa gore kotara e nngwe le e nngwe go nne le mohuta o wa dipuisano go tla go lo dirisa jaaka bobega kgang go isa tshedimosetso ko baaging gore baagi ba itse gore ke eng se puso e se dirang, diphitlhelelo ke eng, dikgwetlho ke eng, le gore dikgwetlho tseo puso e samagana jang le tsone. So re a lo leboga gore le be le dirile jalo, re batla go bona re maje article la e tseneletseng feature article mo yanong o tlhalosang go ya boteng o begela baagi mabapi le tseo o itsetseng tsone gompieno tseo di rwaletseng go tloga fa. MECs, thank you very much for your attendance and participation in this media briefing, and to you also, Premier, for agreeing to lead your EXCO collective in this media briefing sessions. And HODs, we also thank you very much, and colleagues generally. We've come to the end of this session. Thank you very much. Bonolo, announcement, please.